Didn't have the architectural background that I thought he said, but he understands.
Do we have everyone here that we need to have? Hey, Aaron. You're muted.
Yep. Good morning. Okay, good. I was counting. I was like, there's not enough, but you are too. So perfect.
Voicing my concern that I misunderstood. I thought we were going to have access to the live community building.
He called me, he goes, I'm at the meeting. Where is everybody? I'm like, it's Zoom. So
I thought they were going to set Sharon up in there, but I guess not.
She was not going to be able to make it at all. They were going to set her up in the front conference room with a laptop access, but she was not going to participate.
Okay.
Okay, so we have everybody.
So we have a quorum.
Is Mike or Mark there? Mike there? Is Mike with us?
He is not. I have.
We have Sandy. Sandy, you're there?
That's also nice.
Sandy, are you able to hear us?
Yeah. Can somebody text her and maybe see if Hi, Sandy, can you hear us? Yeah. Yeah, if we don't get Sandy, we're not going to have a quorum.
And Mike is not coming?
He said he was.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Mike O'Neill?
No.
Oh,
No.
I hope I pronounced it right.
I just text Sandy, so hopefully we can get a response from her. Sandy can hear us, but she can't get any sound from her end. So she can hear, she can type in any questions or responses in the chat, which is also recorded. So that we can operate that way. And she can text me also if she's having any trouble hearing us.
Okay. So then I'm going to call to order the special meeting of the Design Review Committee of Friday, May 17th, 2024 to order. Do we have a flag? Does anyone have a flag?
Is there a flag anywhere in the online?
All right, we're gonna skip the pledge because we don't have a flag. Public forum, is there anyone that wants to address the committee on anything that's not on this agenda? Seeing none, I'm gonna move on to the item at hand, which is design clearance application for 53 Main Street. Sutter.
We actually have the minutes from last meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that we had those. So item number 4 is consent agenda, and it's the minutes from May 13th.
I have read the minutes.
I have read them.
If anybody has an objection, I would make a motion to approve.
Sandy, do you second?
Her response was yes.
Okay, are you texting with her or seeing it in the chat? Because I'm not showing.
She texted me.
Okay, all right. So we have a motion by John, a second by Sandy. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? I'm assuming that motion carries 3-0. All right, now we'll move on to item number 5, design clearance. This is the old,
Oh, shoot.
there you go. No, we're good.
I know. I just see that my recommendation is from not correct there, but I'll give you a verbal recommendation. Since the staff report, there's an error on that.
Um, okay. So we saw this not long ago. Does the applicant, do you want to kind of describe why it's different from last time? What you're proposing that's different?
The previous general manager submitted original plans with high top counter tables. And since then, we've decided against high tops because of the liability and the danger of our sidewalk. We've had numerous just injuries, people falling. It's too dangerous to be that high. So we went back to the drawing board and brought the counters down. So we won't need high top stools. And just a couple other design differences that were more, let's say, less expensive. So we've worked and partnered with Amador Steel, and they've redesigned it with, different product. So that's why we went back to the drawing board.
Okay.
Well, okay, so I don't have the previous one in front of us, but the illustrations of what you're proposing here still have a high counter, isn't it? It's still a 42-inch barrier and a 18-inch or whatever. Let's see, Susie's getting to the illustration rather than fumble through a lot of paper. It's at the end.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it came in later.
It's at the very end is the illustrations, sketches. Here we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
So, I don't have a page reference, couple more pages. When we see a profile, okay, so we're at 47-inch high barrier and a counter at 32 inches. Is that the intention? You'd actually have an eating service at 32, but you're putting up a 47-inch barrier.
Yeah, so that food or dishes won't be able to slide off the counter. It's like a backsplash.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. So at 32, I guess that means you can still have a chair.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, for Aaron and the city manager, I have still 2 questions. I've said it the last DRC. Looking at the ordinance, this is not a question for the applicant, but it's a discussion that I had a long time with the applicant. Where in ordinance 371 does it mandate that a barrier, stay right there, that a barrier structure needs to be installed and countered if it's only outdoor dining and the distances for ADA can be met on the sidewalk? Let me clarify.
Oh.
I'm looking at section 1328.050, and it only says that if you're doing outdoor dining or whatever, you have to get a outdoor encroachment license. It doesn't say necessarily you have to create these barriers and structures and or even have the counter type. It's just goes on further in the ordinance, if you do those kinds of counter types and whatnot, then it implies that you would have a structure. But the current operation, I've looked at a couple different times, and I don't see where the ADA impact has been compromised. And I don't see where this ordinance mandates that you secure off places, as long as that is clear.
So
Yeah.
I'm not totally understanding your question, but part
Where
of
does
the
it say
part that
they
I-
have to build a structure?
He's not
Well,
sure why they need to have a barrier, why they just can't have the tables.
well, they're proposing the barrier.
And
Well,
I'm guessing you need to have a barrier for ABC.
We were
You
told,
do.
we were told we
You
need
do.
to do permanent outdoor dining. That was, we were told we have to do this. It has to be permanent.
By whom?
So
It was during
Susan is
COVID.
correct.
Yeah.
ABC will not allow there needs to be some type of delineation of where the restaurant ends and the sidewalk begins. I've experienced that in other jurisdictions. So that's part of this. They have that little fence that the alcohol would have to stay within that. What our code says is that any improvements licensed to exist on the right of way shall comply with the design standards the city has adopted as the time of this application and received design clearance from the city's design review committee. So this is an improvement that the city is allowing them to do, licensing them to do, and so then that requires design review.
The building of the elevated table and barrier is a project. The tables and
Yes.
chairs by themselves, does that qualify as a project?
No, that would not.
Okay, I rest my case. But I'm happy to get to the point of dropping my issue. As long as, you know, it's been explained to me that for ABC, they need to separate. That being said, I don't know how preclusive it is for underage people with this barrier. And I'm going to leave my comments at that.
Yeah, and even here it says barriers are optional unless alcoholic beverages are served in the outdoor dining area. The barrier shall maintain a minimum height of 42 to a maximum of 48 inches.
I understand the standards.
And actually one thing that I'm going to have Karen pull up is they did submit a sketch of what the barrier, the backsplash looks like. So that's kind of what we'll be seeing. So if Karen can pull that up. Thank you, Karen. Sorry, it's sideways, but you understand. And we met
Is that
the city
different than
manager
what's
and
on the
I.
application?
No, we have that. It's right
It's
there.
right there. I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's got the back plate.
little Art
It's
Deco-ish,
dec-
not very Mother Lode-ish, but
It's, well,
whatever.
it's decorative.
And it's, to prevent drinks and plates and ketchup bottles and things like that from falling off into the sidewalk.
Yeah. that
Makes perfect sense.
Makes sense. Does Sandy have any comments? And I see, Sandy, that you finally have a microphone up there. Does that mean you're working?
I have not received any comments from Sandy yet.
Oh, okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this all originated with Karen Darrow remembers, hopefully. This all originated kind of during COVID with
Right.
Amy, and we were perfectly happy with our tables and putting up stanchions. That was ABC has cleared us with that, but we were told we needed back then. There was an overhaul of the outdoor dining, and if the city's going to allow it, And then the consensus, because I was on the committee for, it was just a huge deal. And we even had a side committee, and I was on that committee. And then, we designed how it was going to have to be black wrought iron. And, so we went through all of that because at that time, and I understand Amy was very concerned that if we're going to do outdoor dining, it needs to look, we can't just let anybody do what they want, or it'll start looking very janky. And we agree. So we were just cooperating. At that time, they said, okay, you can have outdoor dining like you have been doing for COVID, but everything needs to be permanent. It has to be permanently on into the bolted. And so Cavanna's, got theirs out there. And then, we started our application, like I told you, and it was, the sidewalk is really, really bad. So then a new GM, on like the third GM. But I just want to make sure that we were just complying with back then what Amy and the city council was telling us. If we want outdoor dining, these are the parameters. So that's the only reason that we are spending all this money. Just, we're happy with tables. We do know it doesn't look as nice as the permanent would, because those stanchions, people move them, and we get tired of that too. But I want to make it clear that we're just complying with what we were told we have to do if we want outdoor dining. And Karen might be able to remember that.
Karen?
She summed it up pretty good.
Okay.
It was in response to the outdoor dining, the temporary outdoor dining that did get a lot of criticism for looking, being worn out, and it was everybody's temporary fix. And this was the city's response to going in a direction of allowing that outdoor dining to continue, but putting standards, associating standards with it, design standards. And that's why Cavanna's made their change, and Hotel Sutter has just been a longer process.
Well, can I make a couple questions?
Yeah, no, I have questions too.
Okay, so Cavanna is different than Hotel Sutter. Their space, their dimensions, their allowable space is different.
Yeah.
Question for the applicant. Are you telling me that prior to COVID or whatever, ABC did not have an objection to the round tables with several chairs being on the sidewalk?
As long as we had the stanchion barrier, and the barrier has to say no alcohol beyond this point. So we've always been covered with ABC.
Okay, interesting. Then I kind of want to go back that I don't really see the ordinance mandating you do the permanent. But if we're going to accept the fact, and I'm only one member of 5, that this ordinance, in fact, Karen and the staff indicate that does mandate it somehow, then I will go back to the floor plan, and I have questions, because my focus is ADA. That's just my expertise, and that's my focus. So if we settle the argument that you have to put up the barriers that are permanent and not tape type, which I don't think I've been sold on, but everybody else is, then let's go back to the floor plan, the site plan. Because if in fact you're going to build these barriers, and can you call up Karen, the plan? The previous plan, and then I did a pro bono, that one right there. Can you call it up too?
Yeah.
The pro bono layout, so that I could verify ADA. If you look at this site plan, what's missing to me is not the clearances on the sidewalk, which you have clearly at 60 inches, okay, path of travel. But now we have the 3 doors, 2 doors anyway, into the bar and into the main restaurant. There is no dimension between the structures and that entryway.
Yeah, it's 42 here, 32 here.
The doors are 42-inch doors and 32 inches, but the path of travel to get to those doors, what is that dimension? You have 176 inches and then a blank, 176 inches and then another blank. What is the blank? That has to be a minimum ADA standard. And off the top of my head, and I don't have it.
Okay, can you say it again and just talk slower?
Sorry.
Rebecca, I heard his question.
Wait, the steel guy's on the phone. He can talk. Just that. Go ahead, Dean.
I think on the first drawings that you have, we had some like 36 inches between setups. But we've opened that up, I believe, to about 42 inches. Because we've increased the length of the whole thing.
Well,
Well,
that's.
we're looking at the last sketching, Dean.
Okay,
Do you have it in front of you?
no, I don't.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a picture.
Okay,
So that's the entrance to your main doors.
Which one?
You go 176 inches horizontally, and then there's a gap. That's entrance into the restaurant.
Okay,
Another
just a second.
176 inches, and you have another gap, entrance to the bar side.
So I'm just doing some quick calculations. 176 is about 14 and a half feet. They're showing a little over 25 feet from the edge of the interior edge of the building to the other side of the door. So that's going to leave us 11 feet. And it looks like there's a little bit on either side of that.
Oh.
So
Oh, you're asking the main door that says 42 inches right there? 42? So you're asking what that clearance is for a wheelchair to get into the front door?
Correct.
Yeah, so that in between the barriers, the
Right.
18-inch long
Yeah, I don't
barriers
know.
that are,
in front of me, but I imagine that we set it up to where it was the same width as the door.
it looks like it's wider, but
It's definitely wide enough, but I understand why we need to label that, what those inches are.
If there's an ADA spec, just let me know what it is and we'll build to it.
What's the spec?
See, now that's my expertise. I'm not in my office and I don't have the in front of me, so I don't want to actually state it. We've had that discussion back with the previous application, which I also don't have access at Susan's house. The other dimension that is questionable is if you have these elevated 32-inch serving areas and they're in the 176, you only have 32 inches access into that enclave because there's no dimension shown between the 48 to the 14 or 18 inches. Getting access to the enclosed barriered space, in my mind, is not going to meet ADA unless you can show me some numbers. 32 inches is not acceptable.
To get a wheelchair back behind the counter.
Correct. Now, I suspect maybe there's a caveat where you can prevent anybody in a wheelchair from sitting in the front dining, but I'm not a lawyer, so I won't go there.
Nobody knows where they're at.
What were we thinking about a wheelchair getting behind the counter, Dean? Did we say, what, I remember talking about that.
Gee, I can't remember. This has dragged on so long, I forgot how I forgot. I don't know, were we coming in through the big open bifold doors?
No, I don't. No, those are bifold windows that just open up. I think we even talked about a wheelchair being able to sit on the end right there at the counter in that 32-inch area, like they could sit butt up against the end of that counter. Did we talk about that?
I don't recall, Rebecca.
Okay, so
It seemed like to me that from the post to the front of the seating thing is 60 inches. And
Right.
then from that dimension back to the hotel wall is 48.
so that's okay, so can a wheelchair get through the 48 inches? That's what we need to know.
Minus the 18. Not minus the 18.
Not minus the 18.
What was 18?
That's the counter. So that would only be 30.
See, when you have barrier tapes, you can remove all that stuff to accommodate wheelchair and other ADA requirements.
Yeah.
Building yourself in these little pockets, I see a right for lawsuits in the city as well.
What about, we need to just go back and look at if there's any of those counters out front that a wheelchair can get through. We need to make sure that one of them is at least the right clearance. Because that's the law, is that they need to be able to eat outside just like anybody else would. So we'll have to go back and make sure that at least one of those counters has enough clearance for a wheelchair. And then could you get back to me with what that ADA number is?
The
That
city
has,
surely can.
huh?
The city should be able to.
Okay. I mean, Dean, we know what the figure is, right? Because we had to make sure that there was clearance from the posts to the counter. Wasn't that 4 feet?
Yeah, I think you've got the two long ones there before you get to the front door. And then the one on the other side where that other door is one like 8 feet long or something like that.
Uh-huh.
If you wanted to make one of totally wheelchair accessible, that would be my choice.
Right.
I think you got a little more wiggle room up there.
Okay.
So we could change the design of that enough and everything, make sure that it's wheelchair compliant.
Okay.
So how do you want to, what is the committee's pleasure here? How do you want to proceed? We can proceed with conditionally making sure that the ADA accessibility meets all the requirements.
I can't make a motion in good conscience right now with the data I have in front of me. I'm
Okay.
perplexed by two things: the essence of the requirement and the fact that I can't see an ADA compliance here. But
So
I don't
Sandy
think
has,
I want to make a motion to approve a forward on a project that I don't have all the answers to.
Okay.
Sandy has commented that they do need to verify the path of travel, that the door swings need to be verified, and the turning radius, so that all the ADA code requirements are met.
Okay.
Is that a question for me?
No, well, say it one more time, Karen.
I'm just making Sandy Baracco's comment that that the paths of travel are verified, that the door swings need to be verified, and along with the turning radius, so that all ADA code requirements are met.
And when you say door swings,
Which way they go, in or out?
oh, even though there's not a door, it's just the entrance? Or are you talking about the front door?
Sandy?
I'm checking with her.
Okay.
Well, the front door swings in, if I remember right.
I'm waiting on a response. The entry doors.
So Rebecca, if you had your way, would you just leave the tables?
I'm sure my owner would say yes.
I'm just,
Maybe even do just spruce it up. I'm sure she would rather spend the money on, sprucing it up and making it less messy, I'm sure she would rather do that.
I'm just wondering if there's a way to do leaving the tables, but instead of having having a little bit more permanent type of
Barrier.
barrier that
Isn't permanent. Still.
well, I mean, I'm thinking of like what I have around my pool, which has posts that can go into the ground that you can take out and remove. If I'm having an event and I want to take that out, I can do that. I'm just, because I personally, and I'm just one committee member, but I actually kind of like just the tables. I think it makes it feel like an extension of what's happening indoors.
Mhm.
And it doesn't feel like everyone's facing it. With
Right.
this, everyone's facing out towards the street. With the tables, you're still facing each other.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yes, totally.
So I don't know. I
Maybe
those
we
are just
could,
my thoughts. I mean, I know that's not what you're applying for right now.
well, again, we're only applying because we were told we have to do permanent. And that was including the tables needed to be permanent, like they can't be moved around. So, maybe we could keep tables, but still do a barrier, steel or, with Dean of more like a little gate, gated area. I don't know what the right word would be, but
I'm sorry to interrupt here. I have Sandy on speaker who she's gonna, let me know if you can hear. I'm gonna try to let you guys hear her.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Sandy.
Well, I think that we need a plan drawing that shows to scale. I'm with John. I don't see an ADA compliant path of travel. And if we have it, that would be great. And a scale drawing would give it to us with dimensions, because they have things that different requirements for how you turn the chair and how you approach an entryway. And it's very confusing. John and I, being architects, have had to draw these paths of travel, and they're not easy to do. And it's really hard when it's not to scale. So that would be just my suggestion to make it go through, is just a plan view that shows that path of travel. And you probably have all the things. You just need to have, all the dimensions. You just need to have it shown to scale.
Okay, so if, I guess this is more of an ABC question, and I'm just, there's a lot going on here, and I'm just trying to make this work for everybody. So I'm kind of treating this almost like a workshop right at this point, if that's okay with the applicant. Okay. So the returns on the barriers, are those necessary? Do you have to have those for ABC? Not if they're fixed to the ground. I mean, do you see what I'm saying, Rebecca?
You're muted, Rebecca.
when you say returns, is that the area to get back behind the counter?
Yeah,
With the
so there's an
18-inch
18 inch.
size.
But, so there's the front, that is parallel to the street, and then the returns that are perpendicular to the street. What I'm kind of envisioning, just to keep this a little bit more simple, and is, keeping the tables you have, up against the building like you have them, having the barrier where you're proposing it, but if you get rid of the returns, that gets rid of the issue of ADA accessibility.
I think you're a genius because that would just mean we don't have a counter there. We could still have the barrier, but we don't need a counter. We'll just keep the tables. And you're right. It would just, yeah.
And that gets the city where they want a little bit more of a permanent looking,
Yes,
not the stanchions that, wind up,
right.
that looks a little bit more. And to me, I think of outdoor dining like when I'm in Europe, where it's the same tables inside as outside. It's the same feel. You're not like in a gallery, like facing out to the street. You're still having that communication where you're facing each other
Mhm.
at a table. I don't know.
Yeah, I see
That's
it.
just my brainstorm. That's where I'm going. I don't know. John, what do you think of that?
No, I think what Susan, that it has a lot of merit. I mean, essentially, as a structural question, if your structural guy still on the line, if you don't have the L shape, it makes it hard to keep that barrier supported. That being said, there are solutions. We want to minimize the impact on the historical greenstone sidewalk. That being said, that if you only had two sleeves, like we do for swim team settings of poles and stuff that have caps, you could probably create a barrier just as removable as the tape barrier, okay, with just, well, 2 holes per barrier that are sleeves with caps that I think as a DRC member could still be considered meeting our architectural standards for not defacing historical content. So that is a possibility. It would eliminate your horizontal dining. It could leave your circular tables. But I'm still on the fundamental. Unless ABC has a requirement for a fixed barrier, and the questions have to do with ADA accessibility along the sidewalk, just like Cabanas that I disagreed with, I don't see building any barrier as being a way to facilitate ADA compliance. Does that make any sense to anybody? And I also want to go on record right now, Aaron, is Tom online here?
No.
He's not.
I want to know who on the city is giving out what I think is misinformation about this application. I think we're jacking applicants around, not in this case, but in others as well, when they don't know what they're talking about. Sorry about that. That's my venting. So anyway, back to Susan's compromise. I'm not ready to make a vote today myself. I'm just sorry that this applicant keeps getting a runaround. But I think Susan's comments seem reasonable to me. Okay.
So I'm just gonna touch on the barrier. Barriers are optional unless alcoholic beverages are served in the outdoor dining area. So
Correct.
in this case, unless they want to say people dining outside are not drinking, cannot order alcoholic beverages, then they need a barrier. And barriers, however fixed in place, shall not be permanently attached to the sidewalk is the other requirement for barriers.
Are the tape type barriers acceptable to ABS or ABC? I'm sorry.
So they can't be
I-
fixed to the sidewalk.
Permanently fixed, attached to the sidewalk.
No, but they can be if they're sleeved.
Sleeves. So that's a very good suggestion. So I think where the issue is, I don't know for sure what ABC says about the tape type barriers, but it's the city that's saying we don't want that kind of makeshift outdoor dining setup.
So section 1328.080B, fixtures and barriers, 3, its materials must be constructed of decorative metal,
Yes.
must be black, and must be vertically or horizontally spaced with open slat design. Barriers, however fixed in place, shall not be permanently attached to the sidewalk. So that's where it's saying we can't use what's there now,
Yes.
the cloth ones. So
And another point on that, Susan, is it does say black, but the city was getting feedback that Oh, cats make it all better. The city was getting feedback that they didn't like the black. And so the applicant has proposed a brown.
I actually like the dark brown or brown. I like brown.
So I
black
just
is
wanted to
hard
point
to
that
do.
out in this application.
I'm okay with that too, if it's gonna be brown. I think must be black is the wrong.
Yeah.
Of course, you're also talking to the person that doesn't think that we should regulate color on buildings, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I
so.
think we've established a barrier is required, a more
There is
permanent.
requirements Because of ABC, because of alcohol.
In this, yeah.
And this is the materials that we have to use.
Okay.
Okay, so.
What is not required is like permanent counter out there or something
no,
like that.
it
I
doesn't say
agree with
anything
you
that
about
with the tables, so.
the tables, especially because they have those nice folding open windows. So it truly
Yeah.
is just the restaurant spilling out onto the sidewalk.
Yep. Okay, I would love to see, and if the applicant is okay with that, like, let's go back to the drawing board, stop it. And then, then the main issue then is meeting that the ADA requirements. If you can do that barrier in a way with those tables up against there, which I think it does make it easier, I think.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So if you can resubmit, and Lincoln, if you can resubmit with the the barrier to scale, showing the dimensions and making sure that it meets the requirements, and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
And I don't know about the rest of the members, but I'm happy to do another special meeting.
Thank you.
Anytime, because I do feel that you kind of been put through the ringer here.
Okay, that would be great. We'll work with our steel guy and still do the steel, but we'll figure out how to make them so they just, click into something that we can take them out.
Yeah.
Does that sound good, Dean?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, then we can get rid of the counter because that was going to be a big, expense too. Okay, it sounds good. I'll relay this to the owner and I'm sure she'll be happy. We also felt bad that we've been holding just things because of life. We've been holding this up, transfer of management and new drawings. So we were also kind of trying to get this done so that we were kind of like the last person on the block. And the city manager, Tom, was, the public's getting upset. The locals don't like it. So we're just trying to work together.
Yeah.
I don't know who's liking what. My closing comment was, I do feel the city is obligated to provide the applicant with some advice with ADA. Whoever the city uses as the planning and or consulting firms should be able to provide the applicant with those standards. Yes, you can say the applicant's responsible to meet all those standards, but if the city really wants to provide a service and the city really wants to make this work on our historic sidewalks, they should establish what those parameters are for the applicant.
Aaron, I think it's Larry White, right, Aaron?
Or it could be, or anybody at
Yeah, and so Tom and I went out with them and we set stuff up. They set up things, and yes, we didn't have the ADA handbook with us, but that was a discussion that was had, and visually it appeared to be sufficient and space. So, but we'll make sure that our building inspector is providing more guidance as needed moving forward.
Sandy has a comment that she'd like to make.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm for going forward with this as, as another special meeting, because I do believe you've gotten the runaround. But, it also is going to keep you from being open to lawsuits later on when the ADA expert comes through and finds out you're 2 inches off or 3 inches off, because businesses have been sued for that.
Yeah. No, I think it's good that
Heads up.
the city work with applicants to make sure that everyone's covering all the bases. So from a liability standpoint, you're right, Sandy. So, okay, well, I think we have a good plan moving forward. I want to thank the applicant for her patience with us and for your willingness, Rebecca, to work with us on this. And we'll try to get to a good solution that everyone's happy with.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your patience also. And I'll be in touch.
Okay, sounds great. And
Thank
then
you so much.
with that, I don't think we have anything else, so I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Karen, unless you had
Yep.
any other questions?
No, just Rebecca, just make sure you send everything directly to me and then we'll get that. Once I have enough information, we will get a special meeting scheduled so you don't have to wait another month.
Okay, thanks, Erin.
Okay, you're
Thank you,
welcome.
Erin.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.